Welcome back to No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again. We're in Lewis Park territory here, because this is kind of long.
Ah, I get it. Because it's
It's the
27
long part.
minutes.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
Lewis territory. Son of a bitch, Legacy of King.
I guess you should say that this part should have gotten the cul-de-sac. No, nobody. Okay.
okay, I don't live on one of those anymore. Okay, so
I also wonder why cul-de-sacs were made in the first place, because assuming that, you're trying to fit a lot of houses in any particular area, it's an inefficient use of space. But
The idea is that it makes it easier for larger vehicles like moving trucks and stuff to turn around.
Cul-de-sacs always gave me the impression it's like they're making housing, made a wrong turn somewhere. It's like, shit, we already built a house here. Let's turn around.
back it up. Back it up.
Yeah, back it up.
Backing up.
Basically.
Backing up.
Oh, I see what you have to. You have to move the right one only moves those two, so you have to.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, you have the right idea. You just have to. Oh, but wait, you're gonna be like me though, and you have to figure out the puzzle in order to get to the stuff you don't need, which makes it 12 times more complicated.
you know what's really infuriating? When they have these kind of puzzles, like at the end of Beyond Good and Evil, where it looks really complicated, but the actual solution, once you look it up on a guide, you find that you could just move this one thing twice and then get the solution from there.
I mentioned this when we did the Battle for Bikini Bottom playthrough, but one of the puzzles I could never figure it out as a kid, and the solution is just to hit each button once, and you can do it in literally any order you want, and I was like flabbergasted when I figured that out, because it's like
it's like that puzzle. It's like that puzzle in Resident Evil 4 where it's just 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, when I was getting ready for the Sonic Adventure race with my pals on Twitch, and I actually had to learn a couple of speed tech because everyone else was practicing, I finally memorized the final egg button sequence.
Oh, I hate that thing. Oh.
No, but it's really fucking simple now. Once you know the salute, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you go right to left, hitting the buttons, and you automatically solve it. And it's like, I played this game for like 20 years, and I've only seen that now.
Wait. No, Ryan, you could have.
I could have. Yes, I know.
Ryan, no.
I see it now. There we go.
This is why I don't play puzzle games with you guys, because you guys are just gonna like judge past me, or it's like also like what was it? I was live streaming Undertale on the charity room, and Lewis was with me. I was like, oh no, he's gonna say something in the middle of the puzzles,
and then you lose your train of thought.
Then I lost train of thought. I was like, I'm trying to stop yelling at me.
So this is part of the reason why we don't do puzzle games on the channel, but one of my favorite puzzle games is a game that came out last year called Baba Is You. And it's a great game. I love it, but I think...
I've heard about it.
You've never heard of it? Okay, so...
No, I've heard of it. But I never like looked at it.
So basically, the idea of the game is that you can change the rules of how the world works, because there are these, like... It's like a basic block pushing game, is the very, very basic core. But there are certain, like, tiles that are words, and you can push those around as well. And so if the words are arranged in such a way, like, rock is push, that means that you can push the rocks around. But if the letters are not arranged that way, then you can't. But then you can change the rules, so it's like, wall is push. So instead you can just push the walls out of the way instead of having to find your way around them. It's an amazing puzzle game, but from what I kind of know of your taste, John, you'd hate it, because it just does not seem like your kind of game from what I can tell. But for anybody who likes puzzle games, absolutely play it. It's one of my favorites.
I wanted to try things out just for the sake of, maybe this is the one, to shift my opinion on this sort of format or genre.
It's the kind of puzzle game that really requires you to think outside the box, is the thing. It's not the kind of puzzle game you can solve any of the puzzles by pushing the pieces around randomly and hoping that you stumble across the puzzle by accident. We were talking about puzzles last part, and it's just like a lot of Resident Evil puzzles or whatever you can find the answers to by stumbling around and hitting things at random until you stumble across the puzzle by accident, you know? So it's not that kind of game, but it's also very hard too, is the thing. So I would absolutely be willing to give it a shot, but it doesn't seem like your type of game from what I could see. But my hope,
I just need to do another indie showcase at some point.
but the point I was trying to make is that game's amazing, but I absolutely would not want to do it for the channel because each part would have 10 minutes of me just standing at the screen, like staring
Trying
at
to
it,
figure it out.
trying to figure it out, and I'd be like, okay, so I figured out what
Wait.
the solution is, but current me knows the solution, past me doesn't, so we've got another 3 minutes of him staring at the screen, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do.
I know you're beside that as Jess, but it's also like edit.
Well, I mean, here's also the thing, though. If
Once you edit it out, each level is like a minute.
Yeah, it's also one of those games where if you edit the puzzle when you actually know the solution, it goes by too quick for you to actually explain what the puzzle's about. You know, it's just like, okay, I just did 15 different things in the past 3 seconds, and wait, level's over. Well, we should start talking about the next. Oh wait.
I don't really see how that be a hindrance because they're not puzzle games, but we play many games where levels only last about a minute because we know what you're doing.
No, but you don't understand.
And do we really take
most of the puzzles in that game could last like literally like 10 seconds if you didn't cut past the actual thinking parts.
Yeah, but since when were we ever on topic for like the entirety of a playthrough?
Okay, shut up. Oh, that guy has polygons. That means he must be evil.
Well, he's here to chase you around and make sure you actually keep moving.
What happens if you get caught?
Game over.
Yeah, but how far do you have to go back?
Last save point.
Oh, okay. So that's not...
There's a save point in every house you go into, so it's really not bad at all.
Oh, okay. Also, who's the random girl that keeps on talking to you?
She's Dr. Juvenile, the person who made the system.
Is she important?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Okay.
Is he gonna chase you into the battle arena?
Yeah.
I'm guessing this part doesn't have like much in the way of puzzle solving.
Nope.
Yeah, and
Well, solve it quick before the thing eats you.
Yeah, no, the actual like complexity of the puzzle definitely seems to have gone down because you're on a timer now.
Yeah, okay, I'm leveling up there, but I'll occasionally do the, look at the stats for the level. The recording I'm doing, I think for most of this, is the wrong totals because of the glitch I mentioned earlier. So, take my word for it, everything I'm getting in these videos is everything in the level.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, if you...
But is that the thing at the end won't correctly tally it because of the glitch?
Yes.
As far as Ryan tells us.
As far as we know, Ryan could be lying and using the glitch as an excuse to cover
It's
his
not
tracks.
the only time that's
Nope.
happened. I know, like in Silent Hill, there was like one item that the game just wouldn't count toward completion in the
Ryan, how
results
dare
screen.
you falsify your video game totals too? My notes here say, get internet clout. Wow, Ryan, how dare you lie to the people like that? I'm offended.
All for maybe 2 people who could ever use this as a guide.
I feel bad for the poor sap that tries to use BrainScratch comms as a guide for their video game.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think I did a
you
pretty good job in
should,
Devil May Cry 1, the one game I bothered to 100% for this channel.
I mean, yeah, true, but I don't think... Oh,
I think there's some games we've done a
that game was
we've done a
6 years
particular.
ago now. Almost exactly 6 years ago, if I remember correctly, because that game came out the day... We recorded that playthrough the day Bravely Default came out on...
The difference, though, is that doing a 100% playthrough is different than intentionally recording something as 100% guide, because 100% guides for like videos tend to be more thorough. And then again, Lewis is really thorough, so wait,
Yeah,
never mind.
almost. Yeah, February 7th was when we recorded Devil May Cry, so that was almost 6 years ago now. Damn. Okay.
Ugh.
Wow,
Yeah.
has it been really been that long since the reboot?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the 2010s almost didn't exist for me. It's
Like,
really weird.
I remember that specifically because my idea at the time was that I wanted to record Devil May Cry 1 and the DMC reboot specifically to compare the two franchises, which was probably a flawed idea. Because a fairer comparison would have been Devil May Cry 3 versus the reboot, but you know.
Another fun fact, when we recorded the Devil May Cry reboot, I was sick that day. Other fun fact, I'm sick today because I just got over a flu. So, it's funny how these things work out.
Yeah, if we're recording the DMC and DMC1 for a comparative sake, and for the sake of conversation, is great, and every part is as long as a Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's where I tend to draw the line.
I don't think
It's another helicopter
I don't
shot.
think I did particularly long parts for the Devil May Cry games.
Not
Well,
Devil-
DMC,
Oh,
the reboot.
well, the reboot missions do go on a while, don't they? Yeah.
That
Yeah.
also had longer cutscenes too, because
Well, it had more cutscenes too.
yeah, well,
on
that's
top of that.
the one thing about the original Devil May Cry that I was not expecting is that it's actually a very not cutscene heavy game.
Well, reminder, it was a very early. It came from a very early version of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil, at least as far as the classic ones go, weren't particularly cutscene heavy.
Yeah, but it just kind of went against my idea of a franchise where it's all like flash and fancy cutscenes. Where there's
That didn't really
flipping
start
shit.
until 3.
Yeah, which it's just one of those things where 3's the most famous one. So.
Well, 3 also has like the most understated good story that I've ever seen in a video game. Like, but
Speaking of, when are you going to get to that, Lewis?
Well, he has to do Devil May Cry 2 first.
okay, it's very hard to go back to Devil May Cry 3 because 1, I've gotten way too used to Nero, and 2, I've gotten way too used to being able to style switch with Dante. So,
Well, I mean, we could also switch. I think at this point we're just better off skipping 2 because I don't think from what
None of us have anything to say about it besides Lewis.
Yeah, because also I feel like we'd also run out of things to complain about as well. So
it's not like Devil May Cry 2 has a multitude of problems. It's just uniformly boring.
Yeah, so I think at that point just skipping to the good ones, because I think also you have to do 3. I think you would want to do 3 and then 4 and then, well, maybe not 4 because then we can do our joke about how we never did Devil May Cry 4. But 5, because apparently 5 was a good game from what I heard. Devil May Cry 5 came out like 2 years ago.
No, last year.
No, it came out last year.
I
Came out
thought it
last
was
year.
2018. So, okay. Still though, that game came out last year. That's wild.
Yeah, it's been a really long time since Devil May Cry 4. There was a long stretch of time between those two games.
You see, I was kind of hoping that you'd crush the head by flipping the thing on it.
Nope, it's completely invincible.
I do think it stopped for a minute. If you wait, can you pop the balloon?
No,
Can you
it's
pop
slow.
the balloon?
It does slow down when it gets closer to you.
Oh, okay. So it's a giant
Wow.
crushing wall of death skull. Cool.
Nice to know it has a sense of fair play.
So
For
I
some
saw that
reason.
balloon floating. There it is again. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Spider-Man, grab my balloon.
My inner roller coaster
Wait.
tycoon player wants to pop it.
Is the balloon changing direction with you?
No, it just floats around.
It floated around in a circle just as you turned around in a circle.
Coincidence.
I don't know. It looked like it was moving like Bacon Lara or something.
Wait, bacon.
There's this
Bacon
There's this
Lara?
like
Mavis Bacon.
there's this muscle and bone doppelganger of Lara Croft in the first Tomb Raider game when you get to the Atlantis levels that you have to like trick into falling into a pool of lava because it will just mimic your movements. and you can't shoot it
fans
because
call it Bacon Lara.
Well, yeah, technically it's called the doppelganger, but it looks like bacon, so people call it Bacon Lara.
Had enough of your shit, Mavis Bacon.
Did you know that Mavis Bacon isn't real? She's not a real person.
What?
Mavis Bacon is fake.
You mean Mavis Beacon?
No, Mavis Bacon.
Eagle Raptor has completely ruined that. I mean, there wasn't much to ruin, but still.
Okay, look, I used Timon and Pumbaa Learn to Type as my typing tutor of choice. So...
Yeah, I'm looking at the model doppelganger, and that is very much bacon. Uncooked bacon, for the record. It looks pretty disgusting.
Note that the head looks like E.T. as well.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. The best part is they brought Bacon Lara back in Tomb Raider Anniversary and used it as the thing that ties the trilogy together. Because the Shadow Lara, the evil Lara doppelganger in Tomb Raider Underworld, is like a more developed version of Bacon Lara.
What?
Tomb Raider Underworld is a trip, man.
The Tomb Raider lore... I was about to say Tomb Raider Roar or some other...
What?
Tomb Waiter.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider is a
No, it's
Crash
Crash 3
Bandicoot
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are
It
there...
also weirded me out that there's like a sexy Tomb Raider.
A tomb later is
Are there
like
two mansions?
Lara Croft procrastinating.
Yeah, are
Yeah.
there two mansions? Oh,
Yep.
so when you beat one, do you go straight to the next one, or do you have to, like...
It doesn't matter, I think.
Huh.
I like to throw that safety net there. It doesn't matter, I think.
Well, I'm not sure, so... Oh, this might be an optional one.
Oh, okay.
What in the... Is that...
Did
Mighty number 9.
Driller.
I was about to say, is that a Mega Man villain?
Well, Trollman was a thing, yeah.
Oh, well, you know... Okay, so I was going to say they really needed to drill the point in, but I don't think that's actually a pun, so I'm going to drop that one. I mean, I guess I could if I forced it.
Forced puns are never fun.
Yeah, well, you know, right now we're just kind of spiraling at the moment, so... You know, you see, that one was real fun. There we go.
I didn't get it.
Like, spiraling, like, you know, you're just going in circles, like, spiral like a drill.
Are we going in circles? I thought we were going through a mansion.
Drills go in spirals?
No.
Screws, power drills, stuff with spirals.
He
on
really
them.
got screwed there, didn't he? Whamp, 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 whamp. You see, I try to bring high-quality content to the table, and you make me go for the lowbrow stuff, and it hurts on the inside.
For some reason, this mansion makes me want to play Ultima 7. Maybe it's the blood on the floor. Because Ultima 7 begins with, like, a murder mystery of sorts. Where when
Oh
you...
yeah, and you can just walk into... I remember seeing footage of it, where you just walk into the room, and then it's like, the game's pretty kid-friendly up until that point. And then
No, there is no up
gruesome
until that
blood.
point. It's the start of the game.
Okay.
It's like the...
I'm misremembering it then.
You watch the intro, you start the game, and you start outside this barn house. And then when you get inside the barn house, there's this person who's been ritualistically murdered on the floor. Or if you're playing the Super Nintendo version, it's just an empty barn house because censorship.
I can't really think of any Super Nintendo games that had a lot of, like, blood.
They also censored out the good gameplay in the Super Nintendo version.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you're also trying to play Ultima on a SNES, so...
No, I mean, like, they remade the game entirely, and it's really bad.
Yeah, well, they kind of had to do that because...
No, they didn't. They really didn't.
Well,
like,
they
could have,
used the
like...
keyboard and mouse a lot in the Ultima.
Oh, yeah,
games,
well,
though.
here's the thing. Okay, yeah, they changed the control scheme. That's one thing. But they could... But as far as what goes on and all, they could have ported it more or less straight on like they did previous Ultima games.
I don't
but
see how they could do that
they
inventory system on an SNES, though.
Oh, very, very, very tediously, but it's been done. But that's not the point. They can retool the interface however much they want. They can segment the open world so that it's not all one big thing that needs to load if that's necessary for the technology. What they did was they remade the game as a really bland, really simplistic Zelda clone. So, yeah. Oof.
Oh, so don't play Ultima on Super Nintendo.
Don't play Ultima 7 on Super Nintendo. Although I wouldn't recommend playing other Ultima games on Super Nintendo either. It's not great.
How many were released?
They ported most of the Ultima games to the different Nintendos or Super Nintendos that were like out at the time. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's like a Nintendo version of Ultima 3, I think.
Well, like, usually the only changes they would make were, like, interface-based, or in the case of, like, Ultima 4 and 3, I think, they remade the game pretty much one-to-one, except it looked like a Final Fantasy game instead of an Ultima game. I think they were trying to make it appeal in Japan by doing that.
It's really funny, though, how lots of JRPGs started off by just copying Western RPGs, and then Western RPGs then started copying Japanese RPGs, and it ends in this degenerate cycle.
Now, we've looped back around to Japanese RPGs copying Western RPGs again, because that's where all the old open-world stuff is coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Dark Souls is, basically, in a lot of regards.
I remember that when they were talking about Breath of the Wild, I know it's not really an RPG, but they specifically said we were inspired by a lot of Western games when we made this. So
We know Zelda appeals to Western fans, so make something like that.
yeah.
Hmm.
What is that guy saying in my right ear? I can't.
It's just
hear.
it's just gibberish.
Yeah.
I am Sinistar.
Run,
Beware,
run.
I live. Run.
Oh, that's cruel. You have to go all the way out of your... you have to go all the way out of your way to turn that last dial at the very end of the puzzle path. Otherwise, you'll get there and reach a dead end.
I feel bad for the people whose houses are getting flipped around over and over. Like, they're just sitting around.
We're inside of a video game. Who cares?
Well, you know, maybe it's like the Harry Potter universe, and your house can just move around to open up secret magical pathways, and no one inside will feel it. They like made that a visual gag in Order of the Phoenix, where number 12 Grimmauld Place, the houses are pushing to the side so that the door can be revealed, and everyone inside the house is just watching TV, not noticing. There are 2 mansions again. What is with the multiple mansions?
You see, Luigi is living around this area now, and that's the gimmick for the new game. So, you know, there we go.
Well, that's what they tried to have for the. That's what their gimmick tried to be for 2.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Get inside!
Got in.
Can the head hurt the enemies?
No.
Just ransacking Amazon packages.
Yeah. Hey, it's mine now.
Alright, well, let's see.
This Travis the kind of douchebag that will just go to cul-de-sac neighborhoods and just steal Amazon packages on the doorstep.
Probably.
He'd be like, somebody's got to have an anime figure in one of these.
They mentioned Doppelganger, and because I just was talking about Tomb Raider not minutes ago,
Mavis Bacon.
my eyes went to the boxes piled in the front room, and I'm like, it's Croft Manor from Tomb Raider 1. Because she left all these boxes out because she was having a bunch of stuff put in storage. And that was basically, like, your first...
Does that include the butler?
The butler wasn't until 2, unfortunately.
Wait, does Lara Croft have a mansion?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's rich.
The
How
fun
did
part...
she get rich?
The fun... Oh, there's a backstory for that constantly changes from game to game. But, well, in the first game, the story in the manual said that she was disowned by her family after you know, her lifestyle of adventuring basically got on their nerves because they were aristocrats. And she replaced her income by writing all these books about her own exploits and her travels and stuff. And she was so good at it that she was able to buy herself another mansion. So she went from being born into money to being a self-made rich person, albeit a very
It's like
morally
they wanted to
questionable
have
one.
her. It's like they wanted her to have both backstories, and so they just.
Well,
put
it's
both of
like
them together.
when you get to Tomb Raider 3, they sort of change her background so that she got into adventuring at a younger age for the sake of having this opening tutorial section with her mentor. But then the soft reboot happens in Tomb Raider Legend, and the plane crash that happened when she was 21 in the original continuity now happens when she's like 10 or something. And her parents didn't disown her because her father was an archaeologist too, and her mother really loved her. And yeah, it was completely different from that point on.
Then at some point or other, they'll make a more urban center Tomb Raider reboot where she got $1 million from the scratch off.
Inheritance Raider.
Well, just if they do something with her, I don't care what they do. Just do something with her, because we've had 3 games spinning our wheels on the same character arc by now. It's getting tiring.
What, you mean you don't like how in cutscenes Laura is so, distraught about killing people and how awful it is, but in gameplay she just kills people, no problem?
That was fine for one game. But when Rise of the Tomb Raider happened, I thought we would be like moving toward the more confident Lara, but they doubled down on it. The first game starts with a boat crash. The second game starts with an avalanche, and then doubles down on that by flashing back to her in an earlier adventure where she's in a truck and the truck gets shot to shit and crashes. And then it flashes forward again to the avalanche. So it's like, are we moving forward or are we moving backward here?
Who knows?
Why does she adventure then?
And it's like, okay, they ended.
We here in this development studio are all about making very strong characters, and we mean that literally because they're made of fucking iron with so much punishment we put them through.
They ended the first game on her picking up a second pistol and firing dual pistols at the bad guy, which I took to signal that she was moving toward being more like her classic counterpart, and this was her origin story. But now we are sitting in a post-Shadow of the Tomb Raider world where the entire trilogy was instead her origin story, apparently. So, yeah, I'm a little fatigued by this point, and I hope the next game is different.
More important question: why is that person's toilet in the middle of that room?
That is a very, very good question.
Where you take your shit of shame?
It's the throne of Elvis. You see, the Tomb Raider tangent, it was on point because this was the tomb of Elvis.
We'll see everyone in part 7.